Good morning, Story Trading VIPs. It's Tuesday, March 7th, 9 a.m. pre-market prep. There's a lot to cover here. I'm actually going to be out most of the day, so we're going to try to pack everything in here, and then we'll see you again quickly at 4 p.m. to discuss how it went. So SPY QQQ are at critical levels right now, with Powell speaking today at 10 a.m. and then again tomorrow at 10 a.m. I've got one day it's a Senate, one day it's a Congress. I forgot which is which. So I think the market is waiting on those comments to make a move. But I think the market's probably already decided which direction it's going to go, and this is just going to be an excuse. Now, I don't know for sure which way it's going to go, but reading the tea leaves here, looking at the technicals, I think the risk is to the upside. We're stuck. Maybe it's just the optimist in me because we are at 20 DMA resistance, right? So this has been a choppy market, and the right move has been to buy the supports and sell the resistances. But I am heartened by the low RSI here at 53 and also almost a MACD flip happening here. But, you know, Powell's a wild card. Anything can happen. And this chart looks exactly the same for QQQ, exactly the same for big caps like Google. I've been monitoring. So expect some volatility at 10 a.m. And, oh, Meta is up on firing more people. That's fun. Okay. So in any case, expect more volatility at 10 a.m. And let's hope we can break that 20 DMA and get a little further of a bull run. That'll be fun and helpful for the individual stocks that we're trading. So lots of individual catalysts this morning. First, we had a re-rating play. You know, we've been great on those earnings beats, re-rating plays. I jumped in at 138, did the math on this, and came to 144. Now, I did a little qualitative decision making here, because if you did the math just based on the 2023 guidance and you basically apply that surprise to the estimate, and then you come up with something like a $152 price target. But I went into the report, and I was interested to see that their guidance for 2023 included a 53rd week. I don't know what's that about. Maybe it's a leap year. I don't know what's going on. But this 1290 to 1380 included 20 cents of a 53rd week. So I backed that out, took the midpoint of that, and then that gives you a 9.5% beat compared to the estimate. And if you apply that to the stock price, again, assuming markets are efficient, so yesterday's price was the correct price. Now you got to add 9.5. What does that take you? 144. Did that math when the stock was 138, and we're up almost $3 on it right now. I actually have this has worked out so well for us. I actually put a 144 limit sell order on this because I'm actually not going to be around for most of the day trading. So hopefully that's going to hit. By the way, this is a new 52-week high. And also, by the way, they raised their dividend by 105%. So now it's $1. Is it $1 a share per quarter, right? So maybe that'll bring some institutions, some pension funds that can help a short squeeze here with 15.6% short. So listen, the one thing I do know is dips are buyable, right? Today, right? If you get a sharp pullback this morning or sometime during the day, I think those dips are buyable, especially if you fill the gap at like 135-ish or something like that. So great report out of Dick's, 52-week high, technicals, fundamentals, catalysts, everything's looking good. And obviously the sentiment is positively impacted by this great fundamental report. So I am in Dick's from 138 this morning, looking for 144 today. LAZR, we've been playing this a long time. 1060 was our first target. Well, the many targets we hit from 750, but the next target was 1060, then 1130 to 1140. Hit 1055 in regular hours. So there's always a risk of a pullback. Look at this bullish 2200 cross. But this morning we had another catalyst. The catalyst was JP Morgan maintains overweight, raises price target from $15 to $20. That's a big price target increase, and it also represents a 2x from here. And JP Morgan's a good firm with a good reputation. So I'm thinking that could be enough of a catalyst to resume the upward move on this and challenge again 1050 to 1060, and then maybe on the way to 1130. So RSI, though, is stretched at 73. So it's a little bit risky. I have most of my position here is in my IRA since the 750 inflection news. But I did actually add some trading shares this morning at 10:02, I believe it was. And we'll see if JP Morgan can be that catalyst to get this back up to 1060 and 1130. DKNG, man, you know, one of the things that I've been talking about, and we have to add this to the process of the hedge fund when it opens. I keep promising this hedge fund. It is happening. I promise you. It's just a lot of paperwork and approvals and things like that. But one of the things that I've been talking to Yosef about wanting to do is systematically creating a portion of our fund for long-term investments based on the morning show, because we found that our process is so good because we're also including fundamentals that you can, not just for trading and day trading and swing trading, but when we see a big earnings beat, when we see something that looks like an inflection point from a morning show, that may be a good opportunity to stash some away for the long term. So I think we're going to create an allocation for that and make it completely process oriented based on the morning show, and looking for those inflection points and saying, okay, yeah, we may be trading this today. We may be doing a rapid, like a re-rating play on earnings, but we're also going to keep some. And that's a DKNG had a great earnings report. You can see that gap and run, pull back to 20 DMA. And another thing I think we should add to our process is when you get a great earnings report and you're beating analyst estimates, it's good to keep that on a watch and wait for a technical support level. This was just a beautiful technical balance. It was multiple support levels at 18, and I guess shame on us for forgetting about this and not having it on watch. It's just a lot going on. We need some more employees here. But, if we had this on watch after a great fundamental beat, that 18 was obvious, right? You have the resistance here, 20 DMA, obvious bounce off the 20 DMA after great fundamentals. And now this morning you get a catalyst to supercharge this higher and make a move back to 21 plus. And I think that's the direction DKNG is going. And the catalyst this morning set to launch online sportsbook in home state of Massachusetts on March 10th. And this is their 21st U.S. state. Now, I don't know a lot about this business, so I don't know if you can say, and Massachusetts may be a higher population state, but can you say that's going to be assuming it was equal weight population, can you say that's, a 5% boost, the 21st state, 5% boost in revenue? I don't know. If I knew more about this company, I could quickly kind of do some back on the napkin math on the fundamentals and determine what kind of impact it is. But you can see the market really likes this at up 2%. But nonetheless, we had a great earnings report. We had a beat. You bounce off the 20, you get an additional catalyst. And I think that's a situation that can spark a further momentum move off this 20 DMA and towards that local high of 2150 or so. So that's DKNG. RWLK, we talked about this in the chat room yesterday. I had almost considered it putting this in the morning show yesterday morning, but I couldn't find the catalyst. I saw the early morning price action. I couldn't find the catalyst. I didn't mention on the show. By after 9:30 a.m., we discovered it was up early pre-market because of a Seeking Alpha article. Now, what I just discovered this morning, there was a press release about FDA approval. I'm like, what's going on here? Because I saw it dated yesterday from Benzinga, and then I saw one dated today. So what happened is yesterday morning at 9:50 a.m., so in addition to the Seeking Alpha article, at 9:50 a.m., Benzinga saw this filing on some government website about the FDA approval. There was no press release from the company. And that's what caused this high volume and a couple big spikes here on RWLK yesterday. And now this morning, the company finally PR'd it. So the first official news from the company came out today on this FDA approval. Now, I don't know a lot about the competitors. I don't know a lot about the FDA approvals because it's an FDA approval for a specific indication of walking upstairs and also curbs, which sound great. And they're saying they're the only exoskeleton with this FDA approval for this indication. It sounds great, but I don't know if there's like a sleight of hand or words there in terms of the indication. Maybe there's something else, with a indication that's similar, worded a little bit differently. I don't know. Okay. But I will say this is a negative EV company, and you're basically trying to stay above these 20 and 50-day moving averages. And yesterday it made a move towards the 200. I think there's a chance we can make another move towards the 200 today at 90 cents. But it looks like most of the people who know about this company already knew the news yesterday. So this is a little bit tricky. But, I would put RWLK in the same category as DermTech, the next one coming up. These are both, really can think of them as medical device companies. Like RWLK's, DermTech's a medical device companies with a with a very unique product that seems like they have some sort of competitive edge in it with negative enterprise values. So DermTech and RWLK could be something that you might want to tuck away in an IRA in a small size. It could be something that could be a 10-bagger 1 year, but inflection points are not there yet for either of these companies. When I'm talking about momentum and sales, I really did not like, DermTech they didn't really have good guidance in this last earnings call. They only gave guidance for 1 quarter forward looking, not 2023. And their guidance for Q1 from Q4 was mid-single digit growth. I mean, that's not inflection point explosive, like we turned the corner kind of news. But this morning, DermTech also had news. They added another 1.9 million covered lives. I guess that's step one. But there's something going on there. It's a doctor who's running the company. He's stepping down. Social media cheered that he's stepping down. They're looking for a new CEO who may be more business oriented. So DermTech and ReWalk, I don't think they've turned the corner yet, but maybe there's not much more room to go lower unless they really have no more progress in the next 2, 3, 4 quarters, and then they're burning all their cash, and then you end up going lower. So, but I don't think these are news necessarily that are inflection points for either of these companies that were the catalysts we're seeing this morning, but just keeping tabs on it because these do have multi-bagger potential, and we're just watching it for potential inflection points. Yeah, both of these, maybe good CEOs to invite, good conversations we can have so we can learn more about what is holding them back. What do they need to do to get to that inflection point? What needs to happen on ReWalk and DermTech? So interesting opportunities here, but not really calling any kind of big moves on either of these today. But I did take a chance here on ReWalk because we also have a MACD flip here. So at 81 cents, I stepped in. I'm a little bit late to the party because the news was known yesterday. But let's see if we can get a second move towards 90 cents to 200 DMA on ReWalk today. Lower confidence, lower conviction than I have on Luminar Technologies and Dix and even DraftKings. Did I go? Yeah, I went through the technicals on DraftKings as well. Great. All right. So Generac, a little bit of news this morning. Now, it's not, superb news, nothing too special, but we already have, I'll tell you the news in a second. We already have a swing trade on this, right? Because it broke the 20 DMA, 135 target after their earnings report, which is a so-so. It wasn't, honestly, it wasn't great yet, but there's really good sentiment around Generac because of their green energy push, but it hasn't really shown through on their fundamentals yet. So you have to take a little leap of faith in terms of, hey, I think the market may reward this play, especially if because of their EV focus and green energy focus. And the news this morning was Generac announced a strategic minority investment in Rolling Energy Resources, EV telematics software company. Here it is. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Is a provider of electric vehicle load management software and used by utilities and electric vehicle owners to monitor, control, and optimize charging. As a part of the investment, a member of the Generac executive team will join the RER board of directors. So that's sentiment-wise a positive thing and could provide a little bit of a tailwind to help keep the stock over the 20 DMA. I'm keeping this trade on as long as it stays over the 20 DMA. So we have a good amount to the downside where I'm still kind of bullish, like 122 or so, and then 135 is the target on Generac. And just keep in mind the volatility at 10 a.m. and what could, or keeping, if the SPY and QQQ, if the 20 DMA is the limit, then all these ideas might not fare too well in the next few days if we go back towards the 200 DMA. So you just got to keep that in mind and manage your risk, okay? CRM had a little bit of news. This one I don't really know well. Salesforce, it had a big, good earnings report, so gapped up huge this morning. A little bit news on ChatGPT type of integration with their software. So just letting you know about that, but I don't know this well enough to kind of make any kind of predictions on CRM. And who knows, maybe we'll learn more about these companies as time goes on, and we'll know more about them, and we'll be able to do better predictions as we learn more about these companies. So LLAP had a buy a benchmark come out, maintained a buy. It doesn't have the price target here, but if you go to Benzinga, it says it was the last rating was 15 and now it's 12. The thing is, I'm not sure if Benzinga is missing any reports in between because their data always looks very incomplete to me. So is it possible they reduced from 15 to 12? Maybe it's not in the headline here. I'm going to actually do some networking today to see if I can get a hold of that benchmark report. In the meantime, I don't love the technicals. It's a MACD flipping to red. I think you can move to the 20 DMA at 220. So despite the homework we've done, the fundamental homework, and despite my long position and hoping we break the 325, as things play out with these with their customer. What's the name of their what's the name? Anyone know? What's the name of their customer? Well, whatever. I gotta know. Now it's bothering me. Here it is. Okay, a $2.4 billion contract with is the name of the company here, Rivada. Why I forget that? Okay, Rivada Space Network. So as things develop with Rivada Space Networks in a positive way, hopefully, is what we're anticipating, then we can break above that 200 DMA. So got the trade on. I like my fundamental research, but technicals don't look good, and there's risk to the downside, another 15 cents or so. SMSI benchmark likewise came out, maintained by $5 price target. Maintained. I don't know if that $5, actually, let's now check. Is that $5 reduced from something else? Is it maintained? Let's see what Benzinga tells us over here. So Benzinga tells us the $5 is maintained. Okay, so that is not a new price target there on SMSI, but the stock's 143. That's a multi-bagger they're predicting right there. I am staying out of Dodge now. I got out at honestly, at 142. Maybe it's a risk reward, but I just don't feel good about it. I'd rather be in a company with good fundamentals and good sentiment, and the sentiment's not there right now with Verizon canceling. So I'm staying out of Dodge on SMSI, and that doesn't mean you can't make good money on it. That doesn't mean the fundamentalists are not right. They very well might be right. Okay, we're going to interrupt real quick. Just kind of tweet. We noticed the price action on GLASF yesterday. This is one of the cannabis stocks, our favorite cannabis stock that someone from a cannabis fund come and speak to us about MSauce and everything, and we learned a lot. It was great. You got to, if you haven't listened to it, go back into our archives, listen to that recording on cannabis and MSauce, and there were like 2 or 3 companies that really stood out, and GLASF was one of them. Let me see here what the news is. GLASF was up. It says GLASF up on news. They're expanding production. Another big bump. They make nice money on every pound. This is coming from Chris in our community. If you're bullish on cannabis, all you need to do is own this one. And that's great. And I also agree with him that this is probably the highest quality one out of all the ones we researched together. So GLASF is the way to play cannabis, probably, other than MSauce. So, all right, where were we? DRIO waiting for earnings on Thursday. They had some good news yesterday we talked about in terms of Aetna has already started selling this product, but no press release yet. All right, so we'll have to wait and see. We'll get more details on Thursday. And I am anticipating maybe another big news event coming because they rearranged and they pulled forward that press earnings call by 2 weeks. We already know it's a beat, so very little risk going into earnings. Okay, they already beat on revenue, and I think they also indicated, I forget, they talked, I think even their OPEX lower than expected. They mentioned somewhere either at the Cohen conference or in that pre-announcement. So very little risk going into earnings. So I have no qualms at all about holding this into earnings. Let's see what they say. Let's see if we get new catalyst next week. Looking, we need a break of 525. We need a big catalyst for that to happen. Okay, XXII been a little disappointing. Still holding that over here after that $20 million financing. Let's see. I've been trying to connect with the CEO to get him to speak with us, but he hasn't. So Thursday's earnings on that as well. So we'll wait and see to hear what they say. YEXT earnings after the close. I don't know, man. I think this is peaked out. I did sell about half of my call options yesterday, and I regret not selling all of them. But yeah, this has come up just like a lot. And the RSI is at 71 and our events today. So I think it's time to kind of back off on this one and see what they say at the earnings report tonight. And that'll bring us to the end of our show. Lots of really, I think, great ideas, great actionable things to think about here. And with that, I'm going to be out, as I said, most of the day today. But I will, and we got to add a GLASF to this list. But I will be back at 4 p.m. for a quick wrap on how things went. If you're watching this on YouTube, you've missed all the potential price appreciations and all the great stuff. So you'll need to log in at storytrading.com/app so you can watch this in real time. You can grab a free trial there as well. So everyone, have a great day. Thank you for joining. I'll see you later.